Getting straight to a crash and a traffic backup this morning that could affect your commute. Take a look here. This is at 787 northbound right at exit 3 in Albany. You can see that major slowdown. You will want to find an alternate route this morning. Major backup, stop and go traffic here southbound on 787 for a crash. Several lanes of traffic are closed, and we are getting some images from the scene here. We can go to that video sent in to us by a viewer who was heading in the opposite direction. We understand that 2 exits are closed because of that crash involving a garbage truck, exits 3A and 3B. Let's get straight out to News 10's Juliana Bruno. She is getting a live look at the scene there. So that is your better bet this morning. We're at 36 miles per hour here. Let's go out to one of our DOT traffic cameras and take a closer look at this. You certainly see that reduced visibility that Jill was talking about this morning, and we are really not moving at all, just a slow crawl. And Americans are ready to travel again, but there might be some delay. American Airlines is canceling hundreds of flights due to a significant lack of staffing. Yeah, we know that people texting, being on their phones in the car, it's a serious problem. So police officers in Georgia trying something a little different to try to teach people a lesson. Yeah. And the fact that you're now going into your senior year of high school, but you're a superstar. So is that kind of weird being back? Are you the same old Madison, or has this changed you at all? Do you ever lie to your spouse about who you voted for?
Oh boy.
Tim says, quote, "My wife and I voted last week, but we don't always agree politically. And when I vote, I usually just tell her I voted for the person she likes." As cases of the coronavirus continue to rise across New York State, the governor says the microcluster approach is working. Putting away your groceries for you while you're not home. You know, just putting the milk in the fridge and the cereal in the pantry.
What will they think of next? Every surface obviously helps somebody.
Yeah,
but going in the home and actually putting them away, just drop them on the doorstep.
Yeah, that
ring the
crosses a
doorbell.
boundary, doesn't it?
It does.
That was the governor speaking from Albany this morning. Yesterday he said the apex would be reached in 14 to 21 days. Today he's saying that could happen at different times in different places. Governor Ron DeSantis said yesterday he'll sign the order directing everyone to stop non-essential activities outside the home, like visiting the beach. Obviously, the secret ingredient here is maple syrup. And yes, I do a little transformation here. There we go. All ready to bake.
That's magic.
That's a cookbook that my sister made years ago with all our favorite family recipes.
Mary Fat Free.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Of course,
They
yeah.
were
All my
air
recipes
fried, it's
are.
fine.
But it's that
That's
nice combination of, you know, you get the sweet and the spicy. And so it kind of like caramelizes. Saratoga Springs police investigating a head-on crash on Route 50 that sent 3 people to the hospital with serious injuries last night. Continuing coverage in a legal battle over the man accused in the deadly Schoharie limousine crash. Prosecutors want DNA evidence from their suspect, Naaman Hussein. A pretty good incentive to put your phone down a little bit more often. All that screen time could be causing horn-like bone spurs to appear on your skull. Not a good look. And I'm Mary Wilson. Homeless people in Saratoga Springs still not sure where they will sleep next, especially during those colder months. An arrest now made in the case of a fatal hit and run that happened last month in Gloversville. Police say 61-year-old Lawrence Douglas Irby was riding his motorized wheelchair on East Fulton Street. A Colorado couple says they know what happened to 3 Americans who fell ill at a Dominican Republic resort because they say the same thing happened to them.
It is a beautiful day for Travers, as you mentioned. Crowds running in this morning at 7 o'clock, setting up camp now, finding the spot where they want to spend this fabulous day.
And I learned that 34 people are taking advantage of the Code Blue overflow shelter. They're on mats inside. This is on top of the shelter already being at full capacity. Tonight, for that snow emergency, you got to park on this side of the street. This is the even side where this car is now. They're just fine, even though, yeah, they haven't really dug out completely. Just a few moments ago, you missed it. Yeah, we saw a tow truck. The scope of this damage is just so wide. Not only were seasonal homes damaged and destroyed, but also cars. But the folks who live here say, hey, they're used to this. This is kind of normal to them, and it has been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, John, and they say they are ready all day long. We watch salt deliveries pile into this massive salt shed here.
I just spoke with the fire chief who confirmed to me that there were no working smoke detectors in this home when the fire broke out. We've learned that the Cohoes Community Center is nearly $500,000 in debt. So these doors here are shut tonight
for good. And people here in the community are saying it's the kids and the seniors who are paying the price. The event being held on what would be his 33rd birthday. Elijah Cancer was killed a year ago by the very same thing that he worked tirelessly to end, and that is gun violence. But wow, the presence here of fire companies is pretty amazing. There are about 10 fire trucks here lined up here on Walsh Road. Diced shallots, salt, pepper, crushed red pepper, and some olive oil. Ooh, and I see the first thing is my favorite. Take the second, fold, and place it halfway through the first. Continue until you have about 7. Then roll it up to reveal your rose. Add some greenery to hide that dowel. Fasten it in place with wire, leaving some space in the middle for a festive bow.
Slowly peel that wax paper off. Look how cool that is.
And if you'd rather digital reminders, the free app Daily Water Drink Reminder lets you record your water intake and will send you notifications when you need to take a sip. Gifting plants, succulents are a great option because they're low maintenance, they don't require a lot of water, but they still look great. Dads can be hard to shop for, but these tasty homemade snacks, we have beef jerky, spiced nuts, and gourmet popcorn, may be just the way to his heart.
It's a story you'll see only on 10.
She survived a shooting and lost both her parents in an unthinkable tragedy, only to be victimized again when her wheelchair was stolen from outside this Albany apartment building.
Okay. I don't mean to do this. I'm sorry.
Fifth grader Fiona Williams is a pillar of strength, comforting her grandmother as the family faces yet another setback.
I would never thought that somebody would steal a child's chair.
Fiona is in pain. She walks with a limp, the result of being shot twice last September at her Port Wentworth, Georgia home, where police say Cedric Thompson opened fire on Fiona, her mother Monique Williams, and uncle Timothy Williams before turning the gun on himself. Fiona was the lone survivor.
She even had no sense to pretend to be dead. And that's when he shot himself because he thought she was dead.
Linda Williams is now raising Fiona. They found comfort at KIPP Charter School, where Fiona relied on her wheelchair to navigate the long hallways.
Sometimes my hip be hurting, and I'm gonna have to come after lunch and start getting some Tylenol.
School nurse Beth Sanz has become one of the family's greatest allies.
But something about that human spirit with them, that you just are compelled to be around them, and they give us all hope.
The inspiration is school-wide.
She's really a model for all of us of resilience.
Executive Director Stephanie Valley says Fiona is able to connect with other students who have endured trauma. How does she do it?
I just smile.
That positive attitude gives Linda, who had to bury her son and only daughter, the strength to move on.
My daughter, which is my princess, I call her my princess, can never be replaced, but this is my pumpkin.
Albany police say a report has been filed and they're investigating. If you have any information or would like to help out Fiona and her family, you can head to our website, news10.com. In Albany, I'm Mary Wilson, News 10 ABC. She's a fifth grader and a shooting survivor, and when her wheelchair was taken, the community responded in a big way, and today she debuted her new wheels.
Fiona, could you wait on me?
There's no stopping her now. Fiona Williams confidently cruising the hallways in her brand new wheelchair.
I saw my wheelchair. I was like, ooh, look at me, some Hot Wheels. Okay.
The first day on the new wheels means testing out all the bells and whistles, backwards and forwards. It might take a little getting used to. She and her grandma, Linda, overwhelmed by the kindness of the Capital Region.
They were supportive, and I love them.
Fiona was the sole survivor in a shooting last September that left her mother and uncle dead. Still recovering from 2 gunshot wounds, her wheelchair made it easier to get around. So when it vanished from her front yard, the community stepped in.
I really want to thank everybody that had gave to her.
Well wishes and donations came pouring in from across the country.
I was like, Grandma, we got 2,000, Mama. We got 2,000.
And soon, the mystery of the missing wheelchair was solved.
I feel bad because of the situation that I probably had put the little girl in.
Charles Cannon says he took the wheelchair to a local scrapyard, mistaking it for junk. When the CEO of Weitzman Recycling caught wind of Fiona's story, he cooked up a special surprise that brought Linda to tears.
We're going to send our private jet, the company jet, down to pick you up, pick up your family. We're going to have a limousine pick you up at your house. We're going to go to Walt Disney for a couple days, all expense paid.
Yeah, I was happy. Me and my mom were screaming. I was like, ah!
She's gone through a lot, but none of it breaking that spunky spirit, something Linda says her daughter, Fiona's mother, would be proud of.
She'll be happy. She'll be proud of Fiona, period, because Fiona's a wonderful young lady.
And with Grandma by her side, Fiona will continue to heal and move forward, guided by the generosity of others.
And boy, is she deserving. They expect to take their trip to Disney World sometime in the next 2 months, and it will be Fiona's first time on an airplane.
The no visitors policy is an effort to limit the exposure of the coronavirus to a vulnerable population, but it's cutting off some family members from their loved ones.
Through the window of Glens Falls Center, residents give us a friendly wave, even a thumbs up. They're isolated but not disconnected from the outside world.
Hello?
Hello, Mom.
Julie Petrak's 82-year-old mom, Clara, is a resident at Pine Haven Nursing Home in Columbia County.
I was ready to come visit you yesterday when they called and said that they had no visitors, you know.
Oh, no.
Julie is keeping in touch with her mom from afar, like so many others who are now prohibited from visiting their loved ones.
I think it's going to be hard on a lot of people.
But these pictures prove the 117 folks at Glens Falls Center are keeping busy.
It's so key that they have that socialization.
Nursing home administrator Aislinn Smith says staff is doing their best to keep residents connected to the outside world.
They have that scheduled expectation of visits that they've relied on for years.
Visits like these, Julie and relatives getting some quality time with the matriarch of the family.
She always made holidays good. You know, we always had Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Now those visits will happen virtually.
I'm using Facebook, Messenger, Skype.
Who would think an 82-year-old would do Facebook, but she did.
Keeping her daughter updated on the new normal.
So far, we're all okay, and they're doing a lot of things to keep it safe here.
Staff is undergoing medical screening when they enter and exit the building, and the future is uncertain.
We're hopeful, but you know, we haven't got a time frame, so we're just waiting.
So is Julie, waiting until she can say this in person.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too, Jules.
And some exceptions will be made to this policy in case of an end-of-life situation. Those visitors would be medically screened. In Glens Falls, I'm Mary Wilson, News 10 ABC.
It's been good news in a time where there isn't a ton of good news.
These Hillsdale, New York newlyweds are on a honeymoon staycation after making a mad dash to tie the knot before the pandemic shut down the courthouse.
The door was locked with a big sign that said, this building is closed. So we knocked on the door and somebody opened it and said, are you the ones getting married?
Adam Stack and Sarah Smith planned a September wedding with 90 guests, but all that changed when Adam, a plaster worker, was laid off and wanted to ensure he'd have insurance through his art teacher wife.
So we said, let's do it.
The decision was made for practical reasons, but the ceremony wasn't lacking romance.
I've never questioned how much he loves me.
Over the weekend in Putney, Vermont, it was 30 degrees, but Jill Johnson was beaming in the dress she picked out for a June 27th barn wedding. Instead of 120 guests, she and Tim Sosa said their vows in front of less than 10 loved ones. No congratulatory hugs for the happy couple, but plenty of support from 6 feet away. The No Fuss affair featured packaged snacks and wine served with latex gloves.
It's been certainly a roller coaster of emotions.
Troy-based wedding planner Katie O'Malley Maloney has been busy helping couples postpone their big days.
Almost all of our vendors have been very accommodating where they just pick up the service, they move it to that date, but ultimately they're not owed any more additional money.
She says April and May are out, but some brides and grooms are tentatively planning for beyond.
Guests would be receiving invitations to June weddings during the ban and asked to reply to that wedding in a very uncertain time.
She says to expect more weddings on Fridays and Sundays as venues will be overbooked.
Having something to look forward to, especially a celebration with all your family and friends, is something worth holding on to right now.
It's felt like such a gift to be able to share this with our families.
In uncertain times, these pipe cleaner wedding bands are a symbol of one thing, that is love, in sickness and in health. Mary Wilson, News 10, ABC. Usually they're manufacturing athletic wear here, but the company called Greater Than Sports has halted production on their normal products and taken up a greater cause instead. A fabric cutter slicing through 50 layers with precision. And a sewing machine operated by a practiced hand make up the sights and sounds of a busy factory of few workers.
Business is hard enough, especially being a small business. You know, you add something like this to it, it's a whole nother level.
Michael Borisanok, president of GTS Clothing, shows off some of the online company's best-selling athletic leggings, but their newest product is a weapon in the fight against the spread of the coronavirus.
The more I learned about it and kind of understood that it was kind of right in our wheelhouse to do, it just made sense.
By day 2, the company has already made a couple hundred masks. The process is becoming more and more efficient. The team designed a pattern. Fabric is cut to size, a double layer of it sewn together.
We've also created an opening for any type of filter.
Elastic ear loops get sewn on too.
And we basically pulled from our stock and we got yards and yards and yards of it, and we were able to use it.
These masks don't reach the standards of the N95 masks, but healthcare workers are in such dire need that some hospitals are welcoming them. The first phase of production will be donated.
People have messaged us and basically given us direct addresses and contacts with people who are in need, whether it's hospitals, whether it's nurses.
GTS is also selling hats for $20, each covering the fabric costs of 3 masks. But they're hoping the second phase will involve selling the Made in the USA masks in bulk.
It really gives us an advantage, to be able to get to the marketplace faster. And I actually think it translates to these masks, too, that within 48 hours, we can get it to the marketplace.
Keeping his 6 employees on the job, stitching, slicing, and of course sanitizing, while making a positive impact on the health crisis.